that keeps on giving. I feel like every day there's something going on in the NBA. Obviously, we just had the OKC Thunder, shout out my boys, winning the NBA championship just a couple weeks ago. Then a couple days following that, we have the NBA draft. A lot goes on in that draft, from the Concanoople, Ace Bailey, and Trey Johnson picks, from 4 all the way down to the last pick in the first round. There was a lot of commotion. There was a lot of moves. There was a lot of uncertainty as to where players would go. So a lot of chaotic things have been going on. And then yesterday kicked off the start of free agency, day one. And everybody, and I mean everybody, it felt like went to either a new team, redid their contract with their old team to not only benefit themselves financially, but help out the team depth-wise, so they can make other moves, such as the OKC Thunder, how they were able to bring back their guys. We didn't bring in a single new player outside of the rookies. We brought back every single player from that championship run outside of trading Dylan Jones to the Washington Wizards. Shout out to my boy Dylan. Go out there and hoop. Speaking of Washington, I really like what they're doing out there. They got a lot going on, but we will get into that a little bit later on in the summer when we break down, the future, or what we project could happen with these teams in the next 1 to 2, 3 seasons. But yeah, with all that being said, before we get into the video, if you're new around here, bro, go ahead and subscribe. We are enjoyers of basketball, if you can't tell already. So this is a perfect place for you if you're one of those people as well. NBA, we trying to get into the WNBA as well. We got some things that I'm working on. I actually have an interview later on today that might lead me to a little bit more basketball coverage, but just stay tuned for that. And obviously, I've talked about my side work that I do outside of YouTube and my main job as far as like sports videography. I should have been posted a little bit of that. I got y'all, it's coming soon. But with all that being said, subscribe if you like the video, the content. Go ahead and like the video. And yeah, let's get into it. To start off, LeBron James opted into his $52.6 million player option for the 2025-2026 NBA season. Rich Paul added that LeBron knows the Lakers are building for the future, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. I said this the first time LeBron re-signed with the Lakers, that if he was really realistic or serious about winning another championship, he would reformulate those deals. $52 million going to a 40-year-old who will eventually be 41 years old going into this next NBA season. LeBron's my favorite player of all time. And I'm all for players getting their bag. But if it's really about winning at this point, especially when we see the trajectory of the team trying to formulate something around a Luka Doncic for the next 5 to 10 years potentially, that's not a move I can support. $52 million going to LeBron James himself when you have Austin Reeves on a near max deal. No, you don't. Austin Reeves on a solid contract. My fault. But you have Luka coming up on a near max deal. You have, Dorian Finney-Smith is now a part of Houston Rockets. But they don't have much wiggle room. And we can see that by the fact that their only signing at this point has been Jake LaRavia. Their most important position of need is center play on the basketball court, whether it's defensively, rebounding the basketball, or just a lob threat for Luka Doncic. You know who would have been perfect for that? Clint Capella. But you know where he ended up going? From Atlanta? He's now in Houston. Oh my God, Houston. And Atlanta, since I mentioned them, those are the two big winners of the free agency so far. It's been a couple. Obviously, the Kevin Durant trade happened a week or so ago, and then they've been doing smaller little things here and there, and now the free agency has started. You know what I'm saying? They're at the top of the list for me as winners of free agency, and then Atlanta Hawks are right behind them. We'll get into them a little bit later, though. Moving ahead, I wasn't surprised that the Timberwolves re-signed Naz Reid on his 5-year, $125 million contract, as opposed to signing Nickeil Alexander-Walker. The writing was on the wall. They have a guy in Rob Dillingham coming off the bench who they didn't really play much at all. And just, allowing a guy like Nikhil, although his value was very, very potent and up front, we saw what he was able to do for them, not only during the regular season, but in the postseason, hitting game winners, buzzer beaters, trying to guard the best player on the floor at times when it wasn't a Jalen McDaniels or Anthony Edwards. Nikhil off that bench gave them a lot of production in this postseason. Was it consistent? No, but nor was his minutes, honestly. But when you think about what new scenery does for young players, especially a guy like Nikhil, who was the number 1 player in Canada, over a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was number 2 behind his cousin, I'm really high on the Atlanta Hawks coming into this NBA season. They have Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker as their guard rotation. Obviously, Trae Young is not a defender, but Dyson Daniels has led the league in steals, average per game, I want to say, or total steals. Either way, he was one of the best defenders on the perimeter this entire past NBA season. And now you bring in a guy like Nikhil, who is kind of a tweener between what Dyson Daniels can do and kind of what Trae Young can do, because on certain nights, Nikhil can look not so appealing defensively, but he all the while is still a plus defender, and bringing him in alongside them. And I was talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves, but for Nikhil, I'm very happy for what he was able to accomplish. His deal, we'll get into all that information a little bit later on, but back to Naz Reid. He declined a $15 million player option for next season and chose to stay with the Timberwolves, despite a vibrant market developing with teams that were interested in him with similar money, but with starting roles. He could have been a starter with similar pay, but he decided to stay with the team. That in itself is a win for the Timberwolves. It's a guy that wants to be there. He could have gone to the Lakers, maybe, potentially. No, Lakers I don't think have $125 million. But he could have gone somewhere. I can't even think right now. Like a Brooklyn Nets that needed a big man before they traded for Michael Porter Jr. to absorb some to just, put some money on their books. They could have went and got a Naz Reid, or he could have accepted a contract from them if they offered it. But he didn't. He stayed pat with his team, and coming off of a career high 14.2 points per game last season, alongside a Rudy Gobert and a Julius Randle, he was one of the best players, big men, scorers, do-it-all kind of guys for you. Obviously, we know him a part of Jelly Fam. He has a crazy handle on that ball for a guy his size. His shooting ability, the quickness on his shot is ridiculous. I really love that for the Timberwolves when it was kind of maybe a little bit murky for them after trading Karl-Anthony Towns. Nobody really knew what we were going to see from this team, especially with them being able to, and this is a great transition, also re-signed a Julius Randle on a 3-year, $100 million deal to stay with the Timberwolves, when a lot of people assumed that he would not be on this team moving forward, that he would go and try to taste his bag, go and get to stardom, get in a big city. But no, Julius Randle was happy in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards is one of those guys that just brings his team together. He brings the best out of people with his charisma, his personality, and that's off the court. But when you consider how much of a leader he is on the court as well, although he is young, and then off the court he has his struggles in certain aspects of life, that's not for me to judge. But what I see from him as a player, Anthony Edwards is that dude. If he is able to really reel in a Julius Randle, there were many times where we were discussing the bad body language for Julius Randle. I'm not saying that never happened, because it definitely happened when he threw that pass to Rudy Gobert. Like 4 seconds left. I can forget who they was playing, but Rudy Gobert calling for the ball in the paint, and Julius Randle just rockets the ball to him, and it's a turnover, and they end up losing the game. There were instances of it, but we weren't talking of that or speaking of that as a main topic of a Julius Randle. We were talking about the resurgence of a career that he had, the great season that he was able to put on for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that deal has a... Hold up. Breaking news. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has agreed to a 4-year, $285 million contract extension to stay with the Oklahoma City Thunder through 2030 and 2031. This is now the richest annual salary for a player in league history. Shout out to MVP, man. Shout out to MVP, man. Regular season, Western Conference Finals, and the NBA Finals. Nobody doing it like Shea, bruh. Shout out my GOAT. Nah, it's like, nah. Shout out my guy, though. And you know what I'm saying? Shout out Angel, too. You feel me? Got a rep for my girl. But yeah, back to it. Oh, my. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I knew he was going to resign. But just to see it now, official, inked on paper, we are locked in, man. We are so locked in, man. Now, moving forward. Because I do got that interview in about an hour. The Utah Jazz are traded Colin Sexton and a 2031 second-round pick to the Charlotte Hornets for Yusuf Nurkic. The Hornets acquire a competitive, tough-minded guard in Sexton for their backcourt, while Utah gets a front-court depth with Nurkic, who the Jazz have liked. I'm glad Colin Sexton's out of Utah, man. People could finally, going to Charlotte is not really that much better. Market-wise, I guess, Charlotte's a bigger city. It's a nicer place to live, for sure. But yeah, man, Colin Sexton is one of those dudes that I've loved since I seen him come into the league. Once I heard that story and seen them highlights of him playing 3 against 5, was it 3 against 5? I'm pretty sure they were playing 3-on-5, that Alabama game. I forget who the hell they played. I think they even went to overtime. Colin Sexton may have had like 50 points in that game. Once I seen that story, I've been a Colin Sexton fan since, and then able to go and watch him play for the Cavs a couple times before he ended up getting traded. Like, I love Colin Sexton's game and the fact that he's not, just putting up empty stats, so to speak, anymore in a place like Utah. Obviously, they're building towards something now, bringing in Ace Bailey and all the things that they have going on with Danny Ainge making moves. But in Charlotte, I also like what they're doing with their new guy. I forget who their new GM is, but either way, the Charlotte Hornets are also putting things into play for them to have a successful future down the line, 4 or 5 years to come. So I truly enjoy that Colin Sexton move, especially with the uncertainty of LaMelo Ball's health. You have now a guy off of your bench or that you can start and trust to give you 18 to 20 points per game. And he can also provide some playmaking as well. Defensively, he's no slouch. So I love that. Brandon Miller also coming off of injury from this past season. So you just don't know. They didn't re-sign Trey Mann. So, hey, that's a great pickup for them. A veteran on this team, although he is still young, very, very young. He is a veteran in the league. And on this team, he can come in and kind of show these young guards a thing or two. Not that he is one of the greatest players in the league right now, but Colin Sexton is one of the best players that are overlooked. You know what I'm saying? I could talk about OKC, but, no, there's really no more need to speak on OKC right now. And if I'm being real, it's so much OKC talk on Twitter. Maybe it's just my algorithm, obviously, with me being a fan of them, but there's so much OKC talk on Twitter. It's kind of getting annoying. I'm not going to lie. I love it because I love it. It's my team. We ain't been here in a long time, and we have never done this in my lifetime. But every 3 posts that I see on Twitter is something about OKC. I can't tell you how many times I saw the Jalen Williams torn ligament in his wrist. Some different, like 50 different outlets posting about it. Shout out to J-Dub. He's a dog. Dropped 40 in the NBA Finals with a torn ligament in his wrist. But for me to see it so many times, you know what I'm saying? It kind of got annoying. But I told you I was going to rub it in y'all's face, too. I'm not. My trophy is on the way. It will be posted up somewhere for y'all to see in this room. I'm getting all the hats, the shirts. OKC'd out. Trust me when I say. But since we are talking about him, man, Sam Presti. Shout out to my boy. He was able to bring back everybody, like I said. Caruso's on an $18 million deal next year. Isaiah Joe's making $12.3. Aaron Wiggins is making $10 million. Jalen Williams, we just re-signed him on a 3-year, $24 million. So he's getting $8 million next year. Kenrich Williams is making $7 million next year. Ousmane Dieng is making $6.6. Cason Wallace is making $5.8. Nikola Topic is making around $5. Thomas Sorber should make anywhere between $4 and $5 million. And then A.J. Mitchell is making $3 million, reformulating his deal as well, getting him for another 2 to 3 years. Is that a championship level bench? I mean, it just was. But at the same time, what I'm seeing in Houston, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. And the fact that Denver, let's just go ahead and get into it, man. Where's it at? Where's it at, man? Where's it at? We're skipping to Jaren Jackson. Yeah, Jaren Jackson got re-signed. There it is. The Denver Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr. and an unprotected 2032 first-round pick to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson. It finally happened. The domino has finally fallen. Cam Johnson was the most highly touted player of the trade deadline of free agency last year to potentially be traded from the Brooklyn Nets. It never happened. They held tight, and I think for the Brooklyn Nets, that's perfect. I wanted him on my OKC Thunder. I'm not sure who I would have wanted to depart from. Maybe like an Ousmane Dieng and some of the younger guys that are at the bottom of the bench. As you see, we just traded Dylan Jones to the Washington Wizards, so they were willing to part ways with him. So we could have maybe got it done with all the picks that we had as well. They got one first-round pick out of this. They were looking for 3 or 4 from reports that I had seen. Maybe even 5 at one point, like a Mikal Bridges package. But the fact that the Brooklyn Nets struck that when it was hot, struck the iron while it was hot, or not even while it was hot. It was cold. I mean, obviously it heated up now because, I mean, it's just the off season, so everyone was expecting Cam to get traded. But striking iron while it was damn near out, like there was no spurs, there was no flares, there were no any kind of essence of fire around that Cam Johnson. So that I had heard from Denver being a potential suitor, and for them to make that trade an essential one-to-one swap when you talk about, what they can provide for the team offensively. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. rebounding the basketball was very, very, very good for them the entire postseason. But obviously the injury derailed him and the Nuggets' chances of progressing. Shout out to y'all. OKC the champs. I'm going to keep on saying it. But yeah, Cam Johnson coming in, an elite shooter with great size, but he also brings some defensive upside as well, being one of the, I don't want to say premier, but he's one of the better wing defenders, so to speak. He's not going to shut shit down, but, the motor and the IQ that he has on that side of the basketball, as well as offensively, it will be much more consistent than what Michael Porter was able to bring for them. And the contract is much cheaper. Shout out to Carson Brewer. I am stealing your tweet. I'm just kind of rewording it. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not gonna do that. It sounded good though, didn't it? And then let's go back to the Grizzlies. They made some moves, man. They re-signed Jaren Jackson on a 5-year, $240 million max renegotiation and extension. Jaren Jackson has a player option in that final year of the deal, which is in 2029-2030, and he secures himself as a cornerstone franchise piece for the long term. And the team prioritizes their defensive player of the year from 2023, while also bringing in restricted free agent Santi Aldama on a 3-year, $52.5 million deal. He's making LeBron James's money over 3 years. LeBron's getting 52.6 in this one season. Santi Aldama is getting that over 3 years. Back in 2022, I think it was, whenever LeBron was up for free agency last, I was very much expecting him to, like when they were talking about bringing in Valanciunas or a big, and LeBron was potentially going to take a pay cut to do that. Why was that not on the table this time? I know I just wrapped it back to LeBron, but it's just crazy to me that over 3 years, Santi is making what he's making in this one season. If it's about winning, bro, make it about winning. And like I said, I'm all for players getting their bag, but this man's a billionaire, and I'm not watching pockets. I don't even have my pockets ain't fat enough to even do that. But what I said stands. I believe if he would have renegotiated and opted out of that player option, renegotiated another 1+1, where you are still making that 50, but you're making it over 2 years. So you save $25 million coming into the season. You can potentially go and grab 2 players, not just one, but 2 players. I don't know. Then Houston, man, let's go ahead and get to it, bro. They have been cooking this entire offseason. First and foremost, obviously, kicking it off with the Kevin Durant trade. They re-signed Fred VanVleet on a really, really nice deal. I forget the actual numbers, but it was a solid deal to where he declined his player option for about 44 or so million, but he re-signed for a 2 or 3 year deal that was around that same kind of paper. So shout out to Fred, he's still getting paid. They re-signed Jabari Smith Jr. as well, bought back in Steven Adams. They just signed Dorian Finney-Smith last night, and they signed and bought back in Clint Capella as well. So the Rockets look scary, man. When they jumped up to second championship as favorites, when they jumped up to second out west for favorite odds to win the championship, there we go. Off of just the Kevin Durant trade, I'm like, I mean, that's kind of extreme, ain't it? I mean, they were the 2 seed. They were the 2 seed, but that's kind of extreme, ain't it? Just one move. But now seeing everything that they're doing, and they still have room to do a little bit more around the edges, maybe just a little bit. I mean, as far as trades go, they still have some young pieces that, you know, they could potentially move out of there. I'm not saying anything about Cam Whitmore or Reed Shepherd, but you know how that goes. There's potential that something could happen. And then the Atlanta Hawks as well. My two winners, the Houston Rockets and Atlanta Hawks. They're out there with Trae Young, Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Zachary Richardson, Jalen Johnson, Kristaps Porzingis if he's healthy, Onyeka Okongwu. They bought in Luke Kennard, Asa Newell, and Vet Krejci. I like that team. I really, really like that team, man. This is one of the more interesting free agency periods we've had over the last couple of years. Last year wasn't that crazy, but the year before that was very intriguing. The everything for the most part that I'm seeing over this free agency period is making sense to me, though. The only thing that happened thus far that I still can't process what the hell that means for either team is the CJ McCollum Jordan Poole trade. I still don't know how I feel about it, so I didn't talk about it, and I'm not going to. But to finish off this video, and like I said, we'll break down different teams and what their futures and things look like later on this summer. But to finish off this video, we'll just break down and probably go over a couple things that we already did, just naming everything that happened yesterday, man. So also, and a couple new things as well. D'Angelo Russell, I really love this one. Signed a 2-year, $13 million contract with the Mavericks. Obviously, with them not having Kyrie Irving for a good majority of this NBA season coming up. Maybe all of the regular season if they ever to make the playoffs and he was able to return. They bring in a veteran guy who has been on a championship. D'Angelo Russell was on a championship team? I don't think he was. Maybe I'm mistaken. Either way, he's been around championship caliber basketball. He's played as the number 1 option in Brooklyn. He's played as the number 3 option in LA. He's played as the number 2 option in Golden State when, you know, things were going bad out there when his 1 year there. He's been through the ringer, man. He's never really been able to find a home. Obviously, just signing a 2-year deal, that's not really finding a home. But a guy like D'Angelo Russell, I've given him his slack over the past however many years he played with LeBron and was selling him in the playoffs. But that's a lot of that has to do with him being on LeBron's team, and it's just over criticized by me because he is on my favorite player's team. But a lot of the shit he was doing was head scratching. But I'm saying all that to say D'Angelo Russell's a great player. I think D'Angelo Russell's a great offensive player. He's not a pass-first player, point guard, but he is willing to go out there and get you 7 to 8 assists per game if he is the lead ball handler of the team. And with this team, having a Cooper Flagg and Anthony Davis and the pieces that they have around him like P.J. Washington, lob threats, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, I really love that fit for them. It's almost seamless. And his scoring could fill right in for a Kyrie Irving. Not the 25 point per game, but he can give you about 16 to 20 points per game up until Kyrie Irving comes back, just depending on how they want to use him. He might even give you about 14 because, you know, Anthony Davis is going to be the number 1 option, then Cooper Flagg number 2, and then, you know, all that may change once Kyrie come back. But I love that pickup for the Dallas Mavericks, bringing in D'Angelo Russell. With the whole Malik Beasley scandal thing, Unfortunately, it looks like he lost out on his money, man. He was supposed to sign a 3-year, $42 million contract, but they went out there and signed Karis LeVert on a 2-year, $29 million deal. And I like that for the Pistons, man. Bring in another guy, not a great shooter like Malik Beasley, but another guy that can knock it down from behind the arc. He's one of the more streaky scorers in the league. He'll go a game where he has eight points, and then the next game he'll have 25, and then the next game he'll have 7. Then the next game he'll have 18. Like, he's one of the more streaky 6th, 7th men, that if you want to refer to him as that, in the league. But the offensive punch that he does provide when he's on, Karis LeVert is a dog. I've been a fan of him since he was D'Angelo Russell's teammate in Brooklyn. If y'all don't remember, that was one of my favorites. I've given that 2018, 19, whenever it was, I've given that team a lot of praise over the years. They really made me fans of the Brooklyn Nets for that little bit of time because they were just so fun. And that duo, that scoring duo that they had, even out there with Jared Allen, I really love that for them. And then another ex-Cavalier guard now that he has signed with the Memphis Grizzlies, Ty Jerome, on a 3-year, $28 million deal. Love that for you, bro. Go get your bag. Obviously, Cleveland was not going to be able to do that. What move did the Cleveland Cavaliers make? Who did they bring in, bro? Lonzo Ball. They traded for Lonzo Ball. So it was pretty much, the writing was on the wall that they weren't going to be able to bring in Ty Jerome. So bringing in a guy like that you can either start alongside of Ja Morant or bring him off the bench as your 6th man. We saw what he was able to do for the Cleveland Cavaliers, finishing 2nd, I want to say, in 6-man voting for the entire season. This is perfect for the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, they get a scoring punch off of their bench. They traded for or signed I don't remember. Yeah. They went in the Desmond Bane trade. They got Cole Anthony. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool for Cole Anthony. Be a little playmaking, scoring kind of guard out there for them. But now they're looking to move on from him, bringing in Ty Jerome, and I love that so much more for them. Unfortunately for Cole Anthony, I don't know where he can go, who would really need his services, but that's neither here nor there. Let's continue moving forward because my interview is coming up really, really soon. The Sacramento Kings, this is surprising to me. Dennis Schroeder left the Detroit Pistons. The only reason it's surprising is because how well he played out there, but a guy like Dennis Schroeder, he wants to not only have a little bit more financial security for years to come, but he wants to be a starter in the league, and I think he is a starter in this league. So for him to go out to Sacramento, it's a little, you don't really know what's going on out there. This is one of those teams that Sabonis was rumored to be traded. That could still potentially happen before the start of the season, or even during trade deadline. Who knows? That is a team in purgatory to me. But go get your bag, my man. Go start. Go put up them stats. Do you, Dennis? After having that great year, I'm not mad at him. Do you, bro? Fred VanVleet, 2-year, $50 million. So yeah, he got a little bit more than what he was making, but unlike LeBron taking the big check in 1 year, he split it up over 2. Just saying. James Harden re-signed on a 2-year, $81.5 million deal with the Clippers. Daniel Gafford re-signed with the Mavericks, 3 years, $60 million. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, man, 4 years, $62 million with the Hawks. That is a great pickup for the Hawks, man. I really love that. Julius Randle, we spoke on earlier. Kyrie Irving, 3 years, $119 million after declining his $40 or so million player option and reformulating his deal. Some of these guys get it, and then I guess my GOAT doesn't. I don't know. I'm really hating on him for that right now because if it's about winning, bro, make the winning play. Make the winning move. The Cavs, they re-signed Sam Merrill on a 4-year, $38 million contract, a guy that was selected last in the NBA draft. He's literally pick number 60. Mr. Irrelevant is what they call him. And then to have a career shooting season the way that he did for the Cavaliers, I love that for them. They're going to need that shooting. A Max Strus, I don't know what his contract is looking like, but they're going to need guys around that can shoot. Lonzo Ball, they brought him in. He's progressed as a shooter. They're going to need that. So I love that for them. And then Jabari, who we mentioned earlier, he re-signed, on a 5-year, $122 million contract. So he's with the Rockets for the long haul. They got their core guys locked up. Amin Thompson, obviously, he's going to have to re-sign sooner than later, still on his rookie deal. But they have their core locked up right now. Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith. They just bought in Dorian Finney-Smith for the next 4 years. Kevin Durant's there for the next couple years or so. And then obviously, like I said, Amin Thompson, Fred VanVleet is there for a couple years. Steven Adams signed a 3-year, $39 million contract. So the Rockets, man, they're looking really good. And then Dorian Finney-Smith's his deal is a 4-year, $53 million contract. A lot. And we still got more to go, man. Bobby Porter's re-signed with the Bucks, 3 years, $44 million. Zaire Williams re-signed with the Nets, 2 years, $12 million. Jalen Williams, who I mentioned earlier, 3 years, $24 with the Thunder. And then Tyus Jones, he went down to Orlando, a place who just got off of a point guard, and Cole Anthony brings in a veteran point guard who has been around championship caliber players, who has been in locker rooms around the likes of these guys. And he's one of the more point guard focused point guards, if that makes sense. His assist to turnover ratio was one of the best in the entire NBA for like 3 seasons running when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies and then going over to Washington as well. He kept that up. Now, when he went to Phoenix, they kind of messed him over because in what world did they really expect Bradley Beal to be happy coming off the bench? You bring in Tyus Jones, you're going to have Bradley Beal running the 3. It just didn't work. They didn't have any defensive infrastructure. They didn't have big men that they could rely on. That's why they traded a Yusuf Nurkic. It just did not work out for Phoenix last season, and I'm happy that some of the guys that were there, like a Kevin Durant, like a Tyus Jones, are in different places, and we could possibly see what they can do. We know who Kevin Durant is. We know what he does. But like a Tyus Jones with the Orlando Magic, a team out east who is on the rise, up and coming with 2 young stars, obviously a superstar in the making in Paolo Banchero, bringing in Desmond Bane, who's been on championship runs, deep playoff runs with the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, I love what we're seeing in the NBA. Parity is alive and well, and I feel like everybody feels like they have a chance now, and that's what we're seeing right now in this free agency period. Everybody feels like they have a chance, so they're going for it. They're making all the right moves. I haven't seen a move outside of, like I said, the Jordan Poole and CJ McCollum move that made no sense to me. This is a perfect setup for Tyus Jones and the Orlando Magic. I really, really enjoy that. Then I wake up, because I didn't get everything while I was awake. And even if I did, I wasn't paying. It was so much shit going on yesterday, I couldn't even pay attention. So I was letting the notifications come in and reacting like, oh my God, this happened. Oh, wow, that happened. Al Horford's with the Warriors, bro. Al Horford signed a deal with the Warriors. I don't have the information on what his deal is, but he is with the Golden State Warriors, man. Then the Nuggets bought in Bruce Brown for a year. They bought him back. And the only reason Al Horford is with the Warriors is because they let a guy he's been there his entire career. And he's still young. Kevon Looney looks older than he is. Kevon Looney's not even 30 yet, I don't think. He just signed a 2-year, $16 million deal with the Pelicans. I don't know what the hell the Pelicans is doing. They got a stockpile at the bigs right now. I guess because Zion is so up and down. They're just trying to see what they can do and what they got. And they bringing in a championship guy, 3-time NBA champion like Kevon Looney from the Golden State Warriors, and giving some kind of structure over there in New Orleans. A guy that was teammates with Jordan Poole on that championship team. Oh my, yes. Oh, yes. I love that. Make Jordan Poole feel a little bit more comfortable. Yes. Okay, I like that now. A veteran for the locker room and bringing in a guy that can make one of your younger stars we can consider Jordan Poole that at this moment, even though Washington did not go well the past 2 years. He is still a younger star to me right now. Make him feel comfortable coming in. Make it a seamless transition for him. I really love that. And then Jordan Clarkson is another guy that got out of Utah, got out of that purgatory along with Colin Sexton, and he going to the big city, man, the Big Apple. He was in LA at one point, he was in Cleveland at one point, then he gets to Utah. He's there and he hoops his ass off. He could have won 6th Man of the Year at one point. He may have even won it. I'm not sure if he won it. But he is now in the Big Apple. He's on the New York Knicks, and the Knicks, man. The Eastern Conference is looking good. Man. They're doing what they need to do. Obviously, with the Bucks in a flux with Damian Lillard being injured, there was talks of Giannis wanting to request a trade early off this offseason. We don't know what the hell is going to go over on in Philly. Obviously, the Tyrese Halliburton injury derails the Pacers' season, or that's what we can assume. it just seems wide open for anybody out east to go out there and get it. Obviously, the Cavaliers are fully healthy. They're bringing back their team. They will be without Darius Garland though, but that's what they bring in a guy like Lonzo who can play the 1 through 3, provide not only playmaking but defense, 3-point shooting, scoring when you need it. So that's what that was for. So the Cavs are my number one out east, with the Boston Celtics also having the torn Achilles, like 3 torn Achilles to 3 major stars that all wear 0. All out east. It's crazy to me. It's crazy. But the east is wide open for that regard. And then to close out the video, we're just going to name deals, players, and teams and where they went. If we feel the need to kind of break it down, we will. But, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. It's just a lot went on yesterday. Brook Lopez is no longer a Milwaukee Buck. He went and signed the Clippers. And when I seen Los Angeles, I'm like, the Lakers. Oh, the Clippers. Yeah, the Lakers missed out on getting Brook Lopez, man. Probably because Brown took that contract. 2 years, $18 million. Get some stretch big out there that can lock down the paint. That's obviously the meta right now with the Miles Turner, Chet Holmgren types in the NBA Finals. Luke Kennard went to the Hawks, like I mentioned earlier, 1 year, $11 million. He got himself a nice bag. Mason Plumlee signed a 1 year, $3.6 million deal with the Hornets. Taurean Prince stays with the Bucks, 2 years, $7 million. Trendon Watford leaves Brooklyn and signs with the Sixers for a 2 year, $5.5 million deal. Luka Garza is now a Boston Celtic, 2 year, $5.5 million. Kevin Porter should not be in the NBA. Trey Jones, 3 years, $24 million with the Bulls. I love that for the Bulls. I can't say love, bro. I can't say love. They have so many guards that need the ball in their hand to be successful, like a Josh Giddey or a Kobe White. Kobe's got a little better off ball, but he's much better with the ball in his hands. And Trey Jones is another one of those players, and you just bring him in and add him to that confusion. I didn't mean to say I love it. I didn't mean to say that I love it for sure. I was thinking about Tyus still. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Cam Spencer, he re-signs with the Grizzlies, 2 year, $4.5 million. B-Ball Paul, he re-signs with Detroit, 2 year, $11 million. Nicholas Batum reworks his deal. Old ass Batum getting 2 years, $11.5 million is crazy, but he stays with the Clippers. Day'Ron Sharpe stays with the Nets, 2 year, $12 million. Joe Ingles goes back to the Wolves, 1 year, $3.5 million deal. Garrett Temple is probably going to be his last year, signs a 1 year, $3.5 million deal as well. AJ Mitchell, 3 years, $9 million, like I mentioned earlier. Gary Trent resigns with the Milwaukee Bucks, where it looked like he could have been due for a big payday, man. It really looked like he could have been due for a big payday following what he did for them in the postseason. But no, 2 years, $7.5 million. But still, nonetheless, that's paper, and he has a solid contract and stability for the next couple years, with a team that is competing for a championship. So I love that for Gary Trent. I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but Little League football, Gary Trent Jr. was my teammate. His dad, Gary Trent Sr., was one of our coaches, and it was kind of crazy out there. I'm not gonna lie. People butting heads. Just men having that ego type of thing. But I mean, Gary was cool. Gary Jr. was cool. And just anytime I see him being successful or having any kind of success, I always, I root for him for sure. I think the last time I seen him was before he went off to Duke. We had ran into each other at Easton Mall or something like that. I asked him about his dad, just catching up about, childhood. And I told him, good luck going forward. I did not know that he was going to go to the NBA. I mean, his dad had been in the NBA, so the dad having a child, putting him in basketball, the child ends up being good to great. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to end up in the NBA. But and he's not from Columbus, but to know him from Columbus and to see him in the league, it just didn't process to me that he could even make it there. Because, I thought I was going to make it there. And you see where I'm at. I'm talking about him being in the league. But nonetheless, shout out to my boy Gary, man. And then the Rockets, they retained Jeff Green, Aaron Holiday, and Jay Sean Tate. And Nigel Hayes-Davis, this is a kid from overseas. He was like the Turkish League MVP, Finals MVP, and Euro League Finals MVP. Like, he has a lot. Like, he did a lot overseas, and he got picked up by the Phoenix Suns. So, shout out to Phoenix, man. They trying to get a little bit going after that clusterfuck they had last year. Either way, man, 40-minute episode, Sideline Perspective. It feels good to be back, man. The consistency that I've been pushing out, or that I've been producing, it makes me actually feel good on the inside. I mean that wholeheartedly, bro. I don't know why I just got like just so out of it for so long. Now, I guess I stretched myself too thin, just trying to do too much, like having school and then trying to do work, then trying to do the channel and then trying to do other work, like start businesses and shit like that. I'm actually traveling over this month a couple times, and y'all will see those. Y'all will see that. I'm traveling a couple different places over the next few weeks for some work. I'm very, very excited for it, bro. I could not be more excited. Like, the interview that I have today could be life-changing. Like, what I tell y'all, your boy's been working. I'm not just talking. I'm not just saying shit to say it, to make an excuse as to why I'm not available and posting content. I have really been working my ass off the past couple of years, man. Especially in this past year. Like, it's July 1st. I remember July 5th. I had orientation to go to school. Orientation to see what school would look like. We're damn near a year later in the progression that I have made. I wish I could tell y'all and show y'all everything, man, but y'all will see in due time. Trust me when I say, just keep sticking with your boy, man. That's all I can ask. But I'm about to get out of here. I gotta get ready for this interview. We got about a half hour. Gotta mentally prepare, get this video edited and posted in the meantime, in between time. But as always, man, we are enjoyers of basketball. Anything else happens, this was probably the most jam-packed day that we're gonna have. Or yesterday was the most jam-packed day that we're gonna have. There could be more trades, obviously more signings on the way, but I'll keep y'all updated, man. Just stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, like the video, help your boy reach that algorithm so we can continue to grow this community. And yeah, man, free agency, we here, and I couldn't be happier. What we got up next is Summer League. I'm locked in for that too. Stay tuned with your boy, man. I appreciate y'all. Catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for sure.